Hi dear students. So our third module is understand about the Trojans and rootkits. So our first topic is introduction to remote access Trojans. Myself I am Neha K, Assistant Professor, BCA Cloud Technology and Information Security Management, St. Teresa's College. So let's begin with the topic. So these are the contents of our topic: introduction to remote access Trojans, reasons for creating RATs, overt and covert channels, functions of RAT, security implications of RAT, and indications of a Trojan attack. Today's world, attackers are technology geeks who keep on finding ways to infect the systems. So they are using different approaches to attack a particular system, network, or whatever. So while antivirus and anti-malware software could recognize virus attacks, attackers came up with Trojans and remote access Trojans. So most of the antivirus solutions have not been able to successfully identify attacks from rats. So in August 2015, rats stole social media security numbers and other sensitive data of more than 21 million Americans from the systems of Office of Personnel Management. So what are these rats all about and how they access the systems remotely without detection? Let us find the answers. So next is introduction to remote access Trojans. A remote access Trojan is a malicious software suite that has client-server mechanism and facilitates covered, unfettered, and unauthorized remote access to a victim's computer. Rats are used by the attackers with malicious intent to surveillance the infected victims by recording audio, video, keystrokes. In addition, rats enable attackers to run services from the victim's computer. It is also capable of exfiltrating files and more. So, Trojan attack is acknowledged as one of the most serious cyber attacks. So this diagram represents the working of a rat. Here, Jason is the attacker and Rebecca is the victim. So Jason sends a file with Trojan to Rebecca. So generally, these Trojan attached files are in GIF extension. So Rebecca receives the file and open the file and attached Trojan will enter into her system. So after entering into the Rebecca's computer, it will start causing progressive and slow damage. Actually, these Trojan horses work to install backdoor into the target victim's computer. This backdoor will allow attackers to get the access of target computer without further authentication and authorization, which is required in normal conditions. Here reverse connection works like remote desktop access. So the hacker gets complete GUI access to the remote system. So here the attacker infect computer with server.exe and plant reverse connecting Trojan, and then the Trojan connects to port 80, which is HTTP, to the attacker in Russia, establishing a reverse connection. And at last Jason has complete control over Rebecca's machine. Reasons for creating remote access Trojans. So Trojans are created for the following reasons. First thing is hackers use these Trojans to steal bank credentials and web login information, which can be used further for domain registration. So actually domain registration means it is the process of acquiring a domain name from a domain name registrar. So domain name is a unique name that identifies a website. For example, our college website teresas.ac.in. And then the next reason is hackers need virtual accounts data such as email passwords and web server passwords. And the next thing is hackers get access to important company information, including project presentations and work related important papers or some sensitive information related to workplace, etc. And then the another thing is they like to play with the system. An attacker might insert a Trojan in the computer to make the system act strangely, like CD tray might open and close very frequently, mouse may work strangely, etc. So these are the reasons for creating. These are some of the reasons for creating rats. So next is overt and covert channels. An overt channel is the normal and legitimate way that programs communicate within a computer system or network. A covert channel uses programs or communication path in ways that were not intended. So Trojans can use covert channels to communicate. Some client Trojans use covert channels to send instructions to the server component of the compromised system. So a real world scenario of using a covert channel is Jeremiah Denton, a prisoner of war during the Vietnam War, used a covert channel to communicate without his captor's knowledge. So Denton was interviewed by a Japanese TV reporter, and eventually a videotape of the interview made its way to the United States. An American intelligence agent viewed the tape. One of them noticed Denton was blinking in an unusual manner. They discovered he was blinking letters in Morse code. So the letters were TORTURE, and that is torture, and Denton was blinking them over and over. This is a real world example of how a covert channel can be used to send a communication message undetected. And then another example of using a computer to convey information via a covert channel is the use a characteristics of a file to deliver information rather than the file itself. A computer-based example of a covert channel is in the creation of a seemingly innocent computer file 16 bytes in size. So the file can contain any data as that is not important information. The file can then be emailed to another person. Again, it seems innocent enough, but the real communication is of the number 16. The file size is the important data, not contents of the file. So some covert channels rely on a technique called tunneling, which lets one protocol be carried over another protocol. Protocol is a set of rules. So these are all about overt and covert channels. So next is functions of a remote access Trojan. So Trojans generally run in the target computer in the hidden mode. So even user cannot find it in control panel. So depending on the coding of the Trojan, it is configured for different functions. So most of the time it is used for opening the port on remote computer. So open port can be the entry point for the hacker to the system, and the intermediate who opened this port is a Trojan. So if the attacker wants to know the IP address of the target computer, it will evoke the Trojan to send the IP through the ICQ or IRC, which are the chat applications, and immediately send the message. So here the Trojan can change the registry as system information can be altered. So sometimes as registry is altered, system starts working strange. So different way Trojans can get into the system. So first thing is Trojan can enter into the system through email attachments. And then the most common way of infection through Trojans are chatting applications like IRC, ICQ, Yahoo Messenger, etc. User is a high risk while receiving chat files, as he is never sure about the computer at another end. So these are the functions and different ways Trojans can get into the system. So let's talk about the security implications of that. So Trojans can also be transmitted through attachments to emails. For example, a user has a good friend who is doing some research and wants to understand about the topic related to his friend's field of research. He sends an email to that friend asking about the details of topic and waits for a reply. An attacker targeting the user also knows his friend's email address. The attacker will code a program to fake the email from field and send a message with a Trojan attached. The user will check his email and see that his friend has answered his query in an attachment, download the attachment and run it without thinking that it might be any malware or Trojan. The end result is an infection. Some email clients such as Outlook Express have bugs that automatically execute attached files without consent of user. And the next is instant messenger applications. So infection can occur via instant messenger applications such as ICQ or Yahoo Messenger. So here the user is at high risk while receiving files via instant messengers, no matter from whom or from where. Since there is no file checking utility bundled with instant messengers, there is maximum risk of infection by a Trojan. So the user can never be sure who is on the other side of the computer at any particular moment. It could be someone who hacked a messenger ID and password and wants to spread Trojans over the hacked friends list. And the next is physical access. So restricting physical access is important for a computer security. For example, a user's friend wants to have a physical access to his system. The user might sneak into his friend's computer room in his absence and install a Trojan by copying the Trojan software from his disk onto the hard drive. So this is another implication of that. And then next is fake programs and freeware. Attackers can easily lure a victim for downloading a free software or program. If this freeware is loaded with features like address book, access to many pop accounts, and many more functions, if the user downloads such program and mark as trusted, so the protection software unable to notice that a new program is being installed, and along with the installation, very important information from the user's computer is automatically mailed to the hacker, such as email and POP3 password without noticing. Cached passwords and keystrokes can be also mailed. So these are the indication of a Trojan attack. Computer's default background or wallpaper changes suddenly. Printer starts automatically and starts printing the personal messages stored in the folder. Then computer screen flips inverted or goes upside down. Data files are altered or corrupted, or file path is changed automatically, and antivirus program is switched off automatically. Time and date of the computer will change and mouse cursor changes by itself. Web pages suddenly open without input of user. Thank you all.